Good evening, YouTube and fellow citizens of the world. Welcome to my channel. I am Erica. I am Eric, and boy, this will be the first time I'm trying to do this whole YouTube thing, so I hope you'll bear with me. Anyway, I'll try and cut right to the chase and not ramble on. So, recently, there's been a lot of chatter about the elections in the United States and various problems that we've run into, or that people think there are, or hypothesize there may be. And I hope this doesn't get lost in the wash with that, because I think what I may have found is something not about election integrity, okay, and more about the integrity of some of the systems in place and in regarding the ballot and the systems that surround any states that use ballots, or mail-in ballots rather. And specifically, in my case, Washington State. You see, I live in Washington. I was born and raised here. My family lives here, and I don't have any plans to move as of yet, though, you know, with the way things go, you never know what they'll force me to do. Anyway, on to the point. Hey, so interestingly enough, I've been voting now since I was 18. I think 19. When I was 19 was the first time I voted, or something along those lines. Anyway, they basically send you a packet full of your ballot, right? It's pretty standard stuff, and a voter's security sleeve, or just a security sleeve, and then you get this return envelope that's got the address on it. It's got your information on one side, and it's got a place for your signature. And then if you so choose, or if you need to utilize, the place for 2 witness signatures here. And so what you do is you fill out your ballot, right? And you insert it into the security sleeve, okay? And the security sleeve has a security hole in it, okay? I don't really know what the point of that hole is, but you can tell. Fills up that hole, and then there's a security hole in the envelope, and you put this in there, okay? And then you place it into a mailbox or in a drop box, or you drop it off at the local governing authority over the election, and they process the ballot. And it seems pretty straightforward, and a lot of people in Washington State like to tout the fact that it's so secure. One of those security functions, or the primary one, being the registration, the voter registration card, and being compared to the voter's declaration signature on the ballot envelope itself. It's not actually the signature on the ballot. It's because they're 2 separate things. It's actually a signature on the envelope that gets sent. Now, that seems all fine, and I guess as long as the chain of custody is maintained and the post office does their job, it seems sort of legit. I imagine there's probably some problems there, but that's not what I'm kind of into. What I take issue with, and what I think, and I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, is these 2 witness signatures down below. Okay, and then I'm going to read what it says on the ballot regarding this, and you can kind of take from that a little bit. So it says, power of attorney cannot be used to sign a ballot for somebody else. If you are unable to sign, make a mark and have 2 witnesses sign below. So I guess it's the idea is if you can't use if you have no facilities to sign your signature, you can make a mark of some sort, and then 2 people can sign the ballot. And I found that kind of interesting over the past couple of years. And so I made a query with the Secretary of State a number of times regarding the witness signatures specifically, because I haven't heard anybody really talk about it at all. I mean, I've never heard anybody bring this up, but I thought it was kind of odd. So what I want to do is read to you, okay, sort of what was given back to me after my query with the Secretary of State. And what I'm going to read is a snippet from an email that I received from a gentleman named Les Bowen. He's a certification and training program specialist, pronoun he, him, his, if you're interested. And here's what he had to say. about witness signatures. He says, quote, "Witness signatures are covered in WAC 434-250-120. Witness signatures are considered valid by their presence. This is consistent with other legal documents that require witness signatures. We do not collect statistics on how many ballots with witness signatures are accepted. Ballots lacking witness signatures are counted among unsigned ballots. These statistics are available in the reports listed above. Please contact us again if you have further questions." Les Bowen, Certification Specialist. Blah, 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 blah. Washington State Elections, Office of the Secretary of State. So this guy's directly from the Secretary of State's office, and they're they're the top dog when it comes to the elections here in Washington State. And so basically what he says is witness signatures are considered valid by their presence. In other words, if they're there, they're valid. And to me, I thought that was kind of odd. Like, if my signature is there, they actually have to verify my own signature. But if two random people's signatures are there, they don't have to verify. They're just valid because they're there. Okay, a little strange. I find that a little concerning. I'm going to go on with a referral. They referred me to a document that they submitted to the state elections people around the state. And this is called Elections 101. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but it's Elections 101, Election Administrator Certification, March and April 2021. Okay, so this is a recent publication. And what it has to say about witness signatures. It says, signature issues. What if the voter ... is unable to sign? If a voter is unable to sign the declaration, they may make a mark witnessed by two people. Okay, basically the same as what the envelope says. The return ballot envelope must have spaces for the signatures of the witnesses. Do not verify signatures of witnesses. Okay, so not only do we have the certification specialists and training program specialists saying, yeah, witness signatures are considered valid by their presence, but we also have the document telling people how to certify the elections that do not verify signatures of witnesses. And so my understanding of this is that if a envelope bears two signatures of random people, perhaps people that don't even exist, okay, it's considered valid by the it is to be considered valid by the Washington State elections governing bodies. So a person could feasibly sign two fictitious names on the ballot, okay, and then that ballot can get sent in, and it basically bypasses any checks and balances that we associate with the registered signature card, okay, and it goes straight into the pile that says accepted. All right, no problem whatsoever. And those two signatures don't, depending on the person, I mean, the person could sign any name, and they won't have any association with that. And once it hits the drop box, there's nothing that ties them back to it. Okay, so we take that, the direct path that's allowed by policy and apparently by law, and an easily exploited one at that, and then we combine it with the fact that, according to Les Bowen, they don't even track how many are being submitted. Okay, we can't even look at it and go, hey, this is kind of odd. We're getting like, 1,000 or 5,000 or who knows how many. Maybe it's only a couple hundred, depending on the district, or zero. We don't know. Why are we seeing so many witness signatures? Well, we can't say for certain that there are so many. Okay, granted, but we also can't say that there aren't a lot because they're not being measured. They simply go past the security of the election process. Now, I know that may be a far-fetched idea, okay, and it does take some people to sort of exploit that weakness, and I understand. I don't pretend to just say, well, it's gotta happen because it can't happen. No, but what I do think is that there's a blatant problem with how they're being processed. And if you look to people who are placed in compromising situations like nursing homes or homeless shelters perhaps, or drug rehab places, places where vulnerable people may be compelled to register to vote and may not understand the process, and they sign up and they have the ballots come in here and they give people information, and that information can then be used by people who maybe don't have the greatest of intentions, because I think all you need to get a ballot or it sent to reissued or I think even printed out, all you need is a person's birthday and their name. And I believe that's the case, and you can get a ballot sent or replaced or printed out and then sign it with 2 witness signatures, and you have now voted without any connection back to you in the name of somebody else. And you could say, well, they have fines and they impose penalties, and there is a place up here that describes what that is. But if you don't track and enforce it by verification or finding out what the deal is with people who are using witness signatures, if it is in fact used, then how would you know to hold somebody accountable to the point of issuing them a felony for voting for somebody else or a fine? Okay, and I have had a couple of phone conversations with the Secretary of State representatives about this, and they basically shrugged their shoulders and said, yeah, it's possible, but we don't know what to do about it. And I think that's kind of an odd stance to take from the standpoint of, well, I thought we were talking about secure elections, okay? Because if we're not secure, if we have not done our due diligence in securing every avenue of fraud that's available, and in fact we may be even allowing it to happen through our own inaction, or rather the inaction of the Secretary of State and the policies around the elections handling, then what are we doing? We're not actually running a secure election anymore, because for all we know, okay, every single vote could be a 2 witness signature, or none of them, obviously, but the possibility exists that there's an abundance out there, and we're not keeping track, and we're not enforcing it, and we don't do anything. It's just valid as soon as it gets there. So this is worth consideration, and I think anybody around the country who has these mail-in ballot systems, like Washington State's, should find out and do a little bit of research and say, hey, what's the deal? If this exists, if these loopholes exist, and they may very well be lawful, I guess, but in other words, they may very well be a part of the law system. Those witness signatures may be a valid thing, but how do we verify it? We need to figure out a way to police that. To go back and say, well, did you actually make that mark? Okay, is that person actually voting, or are they in bed incapacitated, and not actually voting? Has somebody taken advantage of that? I think it's worth asking the questions. I appreciate your time. I'm just one person. I hope to bring balance back to my state. I don't want to see it ruined in any way by one set of or group of people or another. I have my own ways of thinking, whom I agree with. But I think the stability and making sure that this is secure and not exploitable, readily exploitable by people seeking to do harm to our state or our nation, I want to make sure that's not happening. Anyway, this is Eric. I appreciate your time. Ciao for now.